Have you ever imagined what it would be like to be born as the son of Julius Caesar, heir to two of the greatest powers of the ancient world? Caesarion, the son of Cleopatra and Caesar, carried the weight of an immense legacy, but his destiny was marked by betrayal, political intrigue, and a tragic end. Get ready to discover how this young man, who had everything to become a powerful pharaoh, saw his dreams destroyed by the relentless power of Rome. In this video, you'll uncover the dark secrets that Rome tried to erase and understand the true impact of Caesarion's legacy on ancient history. But before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you are subscribed to our channel and hit the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our videos filled with historical curiosities about ancient Rome. Let's begin by understanding how it all started. Caesarion's story has deep roots in a relationship filled with intrigue and political convenience that forever changed the course of Egypt and Rome. The birth of Caesarion and his connection to Julius Caesar. Caesarion was born in 47 BC in Alexandria, the capital of Egypt at the time, under the rule of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Cleopatra VII, his mother, was no ordinary queen. She stood out for her intelligence, mastery of several languages, and political skill, making her a unique figure. Julius Caesar, on the other hand, was already one of Rome's most influential leaders, carrying the prestige of a victorious conqueror. Cleopatra did not hesitate to claim that Caesarion was Caesar's son. She even named him Ptolemy XV, adding terms that reinforced his link to Egyptian traditions, and at the same time to his Roman lineage. In that context, this composite name was a legitimization strategy, as it gave the boy a unique status, blending the best of both worlds. In Rome, however, publicly acknowledging a child born out of wedlock with a foreign monarch was no simple matter. Caesar, while showing some regard for Cleopatra and her son, never officially recognized Caesarion as his heir. Still, the seeds of discord were planted, as Caesarion's recognition could have created a new competitor for power amid Rome's political disputes. Knowing this, imagine how Cleopatra reacted. A determined woman, committed to securing safety and prestige for her son. She wouldn't stand still. That's why our next stop is Rome, where mother and son faced moments of tension and hope. The journey to Rome and the atmosphere of uncertainty. When Cleopatra and Caesarion arrived in Rome around 46 BC, they were met with curious looks and silent judgments. Some Romans wondered if that exotic-looking boy, educated in the Egyptian way, could truly be a prince in potential. Others saw him as a threat to Rome's rigid political system, which didn't easily accept the influence of foreign monarchs. Cleopatra, however, had a commanding presence. Her connection to Caesar was undeniable, and she used it strategically. During her stay in Rome, young Caesarion enjoyed certain privileges, albeit discreetly, and was treated with some respect. It wasn't full recognition, but it was a sign that Caesar, on some level, welcomed the idea of keeping him close. Although everything seemed moderately favorable, there was an air of uncertainty. Roman politics were volatile. Powerful senators, ambitious generals, and Caesar's rivals did not look kindly upon this foreign woman who was now bringing her half-Egyptian son into the heart of the Roman Republic. Have you ever wondered how this event shaped the fate of an empire? Leave your like now, so we can continue bringing impactful stories like this one. However, the atmosphere of uncertainty in Rome intensified tragically. Let's see what happened next, and how Caesar's death irreversibly shook the power structures, directly impacting Caesarion's future. The assassination of Caesar and its consequences. On March 15, 44 BC, Julius Caesar was brutally assassinated in the Roman Senate amid a conspiracy involving influential senators like Brutus and Cassius. This event shocked Rome and destabilized the entire political landscape. For Cleopatra, the impact was even greater. the foundation of influence that protected her son was destroyed in an instant. Caesar's death triggered a race for power. Roman leaders split into different factions, leading to a kind of institutional chaos. In this turmoil, Cleopatra realized that keeping Caesarion safe would require a new ally in Rome. The question was, whom could she trust now that Caesar was gone? The Queen of Egypt opted to return to Alexandria, where she could strengthen her position and, in a way, protect her heir. But this didn't mean the young boy was free from threats. On the contrary, disputes among Caesar's successors and enemies intensified, while Caesarion's name began to be seen as a potential spark for future conflicts. The rise of Marc Antony and his alliance with Cleopatra. Marc Antony, one of Caesar's closest allies, emerged as a powerful figure following the dictator's assassination. A skilled military leader and politician, he sought to consolidate his influence, particularly over Rome's eastern territories. Cleopatra, ever watchful of changes, recognized that Antony could provide protection and political strength for Egypt. And, of course, for Caesarion. Their meeting, which likely occurred around 41 BC, has been described as both dramatic and symbolic. According to ancient historians like Plutarch, Cleopatra used all her wit to impress Antony, arriving on a luxurious ship adorned with servants and Egyptian ornaments. This grand entrance sparked not only a romantic relationship, but also a critical political alliance. Soon enough, Cleopatra and Antony became both allies and lovers. This union opened new paths for Egypt to find breathing room in its dealings with Rome. Antony even recognized Caesarion's importance as Caesar's alleged son, elevating the boy further in Egyptian society. Now, Caesarion was not just Cleopatra's heir. He became a vital piece in the alliance between Egypt and Rome. Tensions with Octavian and the threat to Egypt. Octavian, Julius Caesar's grandnephew and adopted heir, was an ambitious and calculating man. He quickly recognized Caesarion as a potential obstacle to his plans for consolidating Caesar's political legacy. If there was another individual who could claim to carry Caesar's blood, Octavian's own legitimacy might be questioned. This threat became more pronounced when Octavian, Marc Antony, and Lepidus formed the Second Triumvirate, a temporary agreement to divide power in Rome. Cleopatra and Antony strengthened their hold in the east, while Octavian controlled the west. However, this so-called peace was short-lived. Ideological differences and mutual distrust soon escalated into open rivalry. Caesarion, meanwhile, was the most vulnerable link in this power struggle. At just a few years old, he couldn't yet grasp the political weight of his name. Cleopatra, however, ensured he received an exceptional education, surrounding him with Greek, Egyptian, and Roman tutors who taught him philosophy, languages, governance, and even military strategy. She was preparing him to rule, provided he survived the growing storm of Roman politics. Consolidating Caesarion's power in Egypt. In Egypt, Cleopatra worked tirelessly to solidify Caesarion's image as a future pharaoh. The country held strong traditions of worshipping their rulers as semi-divine figures. As the son of Cleopatra, a Ptolemaic queen, and the alleged son of Julius Caesar, Caesarion occupied a unique position. This distinction was further amplified through public ceremonies, speeches, and other displays of royal legitimacy. To the Egyptian people, Caesarion represented a beacon of hope, a young heir who could preserve the cultural legacy of Alexandria and maintain national stability. Cleopatra's efforts aimed to position him as both a protector of Egyptian traditions and a potential bridge to Rome. But these efforts didn't go unnoticed by Octavian. The boy's growing influence increased his fears that a faction of Rome might one day align with Egypt, using Caesarion as a rallying figure against his rule. While Cleopatra and Marc Antony celebrated their partial victories, Octavian quietly devised strategies to eliminate every possible threat to his power, including the young pharaoh. If you're enjoying this in-depth look at history, give this video a like and share it with your friends who love ancient Rome. The Battle of Actium. The tension between Octavian and Marc Antony reached its climax in 31 BC at the Battle of Actium, a monumental naval confrontation off the coast of Greece. On one side was Octavian's well-organized army, backed by considerable support from the Roman Senate. On the other were the forces of Marc Antony and Cleopatra, bolstered by Egypt's powerful fleet and eastern allies. Initially, Antony's forces seemed to have the upper hand, but internal discord and Octavian's strategic maneuvers quickly shifted the tide. According to ancient accounts, rumors of betrayal and confusion spread through Antony's ranks. Cleopatra, seeing the situation deteriorate, made the controversial decision to retreat with her fleet. Antony, deeply tied to her, followed suit. This retreat demoralized their forces, leading to a humiliating defeat. The consequences were catastrophic. Marc Antony and Cleopatra fled back to Alexandria, while Octavian's prestige soared as the undisputed victor. For Caesarion, this meant that danger was rapidly closing in. The defeat at Actium effectively left Egypt isolated and vulnerable to Roman domination. The Siege of Alexandria. The year after their defeat at Actium, Octavian marched on Egypt with one clear goal: to crush any remaining resistance and secure absolute control. Marc Antony and Cleopatra made a last-ditch effort to defend Alexandria, but their resources were depleted, and morale among their troops was low. In the face of imminent defeat, Marc Antony, consumed by despair, took his own life, reportedly believing that Cleopatra had already died or abandoned him. Shortly after, Cleopatra herself was captured by Octavian, who kept her under strict surveillance. Desperate, Cleopatra tried negotiating her son's survival, but Octavian showed no interest in sparing Caesarion. At 17 years old, Caesarion had grown into a young man who could be seen as the legitimate heir of both Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. This made him a direct threat to Octavian's authority, as he could potentially inspire uprisings or even lay claim to the Roman Empire. Have you ever wondered what would have happened if Egypt had held out longer? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Cleopatra's final wish. Cleopatra, according to numerous historical accounts, refused to be paraded as a live trophy in a Roman triumph, a spectacle Octavian planned to showcase his victory over Egypt. Faced with the prospect of humiliation, Cleopatra chose to end her life. The most popular version of her death states that she allowed herself to be bitten by a venomous asp brought secretly into her quarters. This act symbolized Cleopatra's defiance and refusal to submit to her enemies. It was also her last attempt to protect Caesarion. Historical sources suggest that she pleaded with Octavian to spare her son's life, but her appeals fell on deaf ears. With Cleopatra gone, any hope for Caesarion's survival diminished rapidly. Cleopatra's dramatic death solidified her legacy as a proud and determined ruler who chose death over disgrace. Yet her decision also left Caesarion more vulnerable than ever. Octavian, now fully in control, was intent on erasing any threat to his rule. The execution of Caesarion and its implications. Following Cleopatra's death, Caesarion was the last remaining figure representing the Ptolemaic dynasty. However, Octavian was unwilling to take any risks. He viewed Caesarion's existence as a potential rallying point for dissent and rebellion within the empire. The order was clear and merciless. Caesarion was to be executed. Some accounts suggest that the act was carried out by soldiers who had once served the Ptolemaic dynasty, perhaps to avoid an outright Roman spectacle. This execution marked the definitive end of Egypt's centuries-old lineage of pharaohs, transforming the once mighty kingdom into a Roman province. The significance of Caesarion's death went beyond a mere political maneuver. It symbolized the end of an era, the fall of the Egyptian pharaohs, and the rise of Octavian as Augustus, Rome's first emperor. With this act, Octavian not only secured his dominance, but also reshaped the course of history, marking the transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. Caesarion's story, marked by grandeur, hope, and ultimate tragedy, reflects the brutal reality of ancient power struggles. Born with the promise of uniting two worlds, he was ultimately crushed by the ambitions of men vying for supreme authority. His short life serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of political conflict, where even royal blood offered no protection. If you enjoyed this journey through history and want more fascinating stories, subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next exploration of ancient Rome and its empire.